Hello my bright crocheters. I'm Kate of Charm and Strange Crochet. Today we're going to be looking at how to crochet into the third loop of a half double crochet while working flat.
So here we're finishing up our foundational half double crochet row. If you don't know how to do a foundational crochet stitch, I do have a video on that as well, so be sure to check it out. I will link it in the description below. So we're going to chain one and turn like normal for half double crochet, and then we're going to work into this third loop here. It is right beneath the two loops that we normally work into for any general crochet. This third loop is quite a bit tighter than the space that we normally crochet into, so you want to make sure your gauge is nice and loose. This is why I used a 6.5mm hook for a worsted yarn. That just helped me to crochet more loosely since I have a tendency to have a pretty tight gauge. You can work into the third loop with a tighter gauge if you need to, it just might slow you down a little bit. But anyway, here is the effect of crocheting into the third loop. You can see that the two loops we normally crochet into are forced out to the front, and it kind of mimics the knit look. I also want to show you what the end of your second row is going to look like as you approach working into the beginning of your foundational row. This end is going to look a little bit wibbly and wonky, and it can be a little confusing, so I wanted to show you what it's going to look like. Right here is my last stitch, or rather the very first stitch of the first row. Now it's the last stitch that I'm working into. It just looks a little folded, and that's okay, that's normal. So there is my last stitch. Now this loop here, that is from my starting chain. So even though it is sort of a third loop, I don't want to work into it because then I would have one more stitch in my second row than I do in the first. So I'm going to leave that unworked. The end is going to look a little bit wibbly, but for this project that's okay because this is a scarf that I'm going to be adding some unique design features to onto the ends after I finish. Otherwise, we're going to chain one and turn the work, and then just like we did at the beginning of row 2, now we're going to work into this third loop here. Not that space where I just touched my hook, that's where we normally work. We're working into the third loop. And because this is a scarf, I didn't want it to have a right side and a wrong side. So I'm working into the third loop that is facing me always. That way each side of the project will have the knit look V's from the top of the stitch, and then there'll also be on each side a little bit of space between the tops of the crochet stitches.
Thanks for watching. If this video helped you to learn a new technique, please drop a like and let me know in the comments what's on your hook. Happy crocheting!